They don't take time.
Pastor Harris, Pastor Reed, ecclesiastical dignitaries that make up this roster, to all of you, my father's children. I greet you tonight in the name of him who orders our steps, meets us with mercy, and in the language of antiquity causes our wounded moments to roll on a little while longer. I stand tonight just to say a word about Josephine Armstead Bowman. So happy to see her sisters and her brother here sharing in this moment. But Sister Josephine Armstead Bowman lived her life not as a period, but she lived her life as an apostrophe, a colon, a semicolon, or an exclamation point. She lived her life pointing to meet God. She was always giving God a helping hand. That's why she could take mess and not be messy, take meanness and not be mean, and take a licking and keep on taking. She longed for the day when she would have a date with destiny, a rendezvous with hope, and an appointment with unfading joy. My mother was small in stature, but she didn't play. She believed if there couldn't be a meeting of the minds, then it was time to whoop some behind.
That's right.
I never shall forget when my kindergarten teacher, Miss Vermette, that's why the mayor was laughing and talking about how she would not spoil the rod. But Miss Vermette called my mother and told my mother I didn't know how to behave. My mother came up to the school that day with her extension cord and made me pull down my pants in front of the whole class and went to work on my blessed assurance.
That's right.
She didn't believe in time out.
Your time is up.
She believed in laying on of hands. Where's Dr. Seuss when you need him? And she didn't play. She used to say, Ray, I can't make you be saved, but I can make you behave. My mother was not only a woman who didn't play, but she was a woman who knew how to pray. When our family was struggling through days dripping with disappointments, nights nuanced by nightmares and moments mired in misery, when life appeared to be a struggle not worth living, no appreciation, no jubilation, no anticipation that it was going to get better on tomorrow, she knew how to call on the name of Jesus. Harris Emerson Fosdick says, when a crisis appeared imminent in your life, what you explode with will be dependent upon what you're loaded with. So my mother wanted us to explode with believing prayer. And every day in our house was prayer time. We prayed before we went to school. We had to get in a circle and call had to say a Bible verse. And my verse was hymn 1, because she knew I was going to need hymn 1. Blessed is the man walking not in the counsel of the ungodly, or standing in the way of sinners, or sitting in the seat of the scoundrel. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law does he meditate both day and night, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. My mother taught us how to pray. She taught us how to call on God, because she said to me when I got ready to leave, go off to college for the first time, she said, Raymond, you gonna call me and I can't get to you, but there is a name you can call, and his name is Jesus. I'm out of here. But my mother had a favorite phrase at the end when she would say something. Say, Mama, you gonna do that? My mom would say, if the Lord's will. Mama, you gonna do that? If the Lord's will. And I didn't understand, y'all, why my mother would always talk about if it's the Lord's will. But as I got older, a good friend of mine, Dr. C.A.W. Clark, who sleeps now in that silent city, he told me, he said, Bowman, you know why the old saints used to say, if it's the Lord's will? He told me a story. He said, that was preachers sitting on the porch, and the man when came by, he said, hey, Reverend, how you doing? He said, I'm doing all right. Man had a horse. He said, where you going, man? He said, I'm going down here to sell my horse. And the preacher said to him, you better say, if it's the Lord's will. And the man said, man, Lord ain't got nothing to do with this. I raised this horse. I'm going to carry this horse to sell him. The Lord ain't got nothing to do with it. And the preacher said, well, I'm just telling you, you better say, if it's the Lord's will. And about 2 hours later, I'm out of here. He said that he saw the man come back on the fence. His eye was black and blue. His clothes were torn and tattered, and he didn't have on any shoes. And the preacher said, man, what happened to you? He said, Reverend, I stayed here too long talking to you, and so I had to cut across the field, and Farmer John didn't see who I was, so he shot me and he hit my horse. My horse knocked me down. That's why my eye is black and blue. I had to crawl away from under my horse. That's why I don't have on no shoes. He didn't see who I was, so he fired at the gate post, and I had to crawl through the gate post. That's why my clothes are torn and tattered. And the preacher said, well, where you on your way to now? He said, I'm on my way home. If the Lord's will.